Thanks so much for joining me for this Get Ready With Me featuring my October favorites. I had questions on a couple of the products here. So I featured the Merit Great Skin. It's a priming moisturizer. And then I had a question about the Bobbi Brown face base, which I discovered I had. Actually, let me show you side by side. So this is the Merit Great Skin. The texture, it's a little bit more lightweight. And this is the Vitamin Enriched Face Base by Bobbi Brown. This is in a jar, and that might be a deciding factor for some people because jars can be a little bit messier. So the main difference I'm going to say here, just texture-wise, like we can see, it's a more like a mayonnaise texture, this one. Thicker mayonnaise, and this is like a light mayonnaise texture. That's the main difference. It's just thicker and not as lightweight, but it also feels on the face a little bit smoother. And I think it's because just the composition, it's more emollient. So maybe those who with drier skin types might really like this. Like it feels really emollient. And then this one, still smoothing, but more lightweight. And then we can see performance. So I've got them side by side. Let me just let them absorb for a moment. Yeah, I know some people really like a pump versus a jar. They're both very nice though, but I think it comes down to preference, as typical. While we're waiting for that to just absorb, we don't want to let it dry too much though. Actually, the Merit says to go in when it's not fully set yet. This is a Biossance, and this is the Pro Peptide Lip Perfector. So I like to keep my lips as hydrated as possible. And this one I actually keep by the nightstand. It says 24-hour moisture vegan balm, and it comes like this where you can just dispense the product this way. So it's really nice. I think the best way to describe this is to describe what it's not. It's not waxy, it's not sticky. It's also not too glossy, so it stays in place. So I've been enjoying that one. Okay, and I did go in with a bit of the Dr. Idriss, the Major Fade on these dark spots. So in the favorites, I also talk about the one I've been trying out in the evening because this is evening specific, the Remedy for dark spots. It's super stacked dark spot corrector treatment. So one thing I did notice about this, and they also advise to start out slowly, is it can dry my skin a little bit, which is what we were seeing in the Sephora Get Ready With Me video. You could see it was a little bit red. So just be careful, especially for sensitive skin. As always, just know your skin and its sensitivity. So I think they recommend to start out slowly with this one and not every night. So I just back off a little bit if I see my skin is reacting. My skin's pretty hardy, but yeah, we are getting to a really nice place. I know I always say that, but I just am impressed with the progress that continues to happen. Okay, now that we've got that in, I have 3 now. I actually think the video where I show my haul, my Sephora haul, it probably came up before this because now I have the 3 shades of the foundation. And then one of you chimed in and let me know that there's 2W that was the closest for you if you are BD41, which I have not tried. I was trying to stay in the neutral lane. Yeah, these were already pulling warm for me, these neutrals, especially 3N. So that's why I avoided the warm section of these undertones. So let's go in with a combination. So I got 2CR, and this looks pretty light, but it works really nicely if I blend this together with 3.5N. So 3.5N is a little bit deep. Okay, let's use this 103 because I can't find it. I was using a 107 brush, but let's use this 103 just because I like it really light. So I'm just going into 3.5. I'm going in with a little bit of 2CR. So 3.5N and 2CR. I didn't really pay attention to how much I had, but let's see how this goes on. I think we're good there. We're gonna try under the eye actually too. So let's go in. This is a combination of the 2, which I think is the right blend now for me. I'll do half so you can see. Okay, so this is a blend of 2CR and 3.5N. So I think we have enough of like a pinkiness to it, a little bit more neutral. Yeah, I like that combination. So I'm gonna go in on the other side and I just kind of eyeball this and figure out like if I get a little bit of each, we're okay. And then if I notice we need a little more color, I can just blend easily. And that's what I like about a thin layer is I can kind of adjust based on the part of the face I'm in. Like this is deeper usually over here. This is also deeper on the forehead. and it's really fast. And then the middle of the face is like a combination of the two. Now I did try something, so we're gonna experiment here. I don't know if this is gonna work, but we're gonna take a blend of these two and just run it quickly right under this eye area. It did say it could be used as a concealer, but I don't know if they meant under eye concealer, but we're gonna try. Yeah, I already can see it's doable. Let me get some 3.5. It's doable, however, so since it's not specifically engineered for the eye area, I'm not sure of the wrinkle resistant factor of it, but we'll pay attention. I'm just taking a bit of 2CR. I'm going to go in the darkest spot here, this area, just like this. Really lightly, really thin layer. Yeah, what I like is that it provides a really thin layer. Like I said, this is an experiment right now, so let's see. Yeah, I already can see maybe not the best, but in a pinch, I would use it, but I still think I prefer the Westman Atelier in this area. We'll watch it, but I might have to go back with the Westman Atelier at the end here. Okay, and so those are my dark spots. Also, I didn't conceal, but let's go in really quickly. Go in with this number 12 brush. I'm just gonna blend this, or actually, let me show you 2CR really fast so you can see what it looks like. It looks like that directly on the skin. So I'm just gonna take a combination of these two and use as a concealer. Okay, so there it's used as a concealer. So it does a good job as a concealer as well. So I'm just blending these two again. Spot concealing. So that was pretty quick in terms of, I mean, maybe it didn't seem quick. It's been about 10 minutes. So convenient to travel with these. Bronzing always makes everything better. So we've got the Dior Bronzer here, and this one's in tan. Let's just do this. I need to test this bronzer against the Chanel bronzer in the jar because I wonder if this even blends easier than that one. Let me know if you'd like to see that. Like, I feel like there's a few products out there that are better than Chanel. I mean, I love Chanel, so this might be one once I have a chance to compare them. Let's go in with brows, and since I took this out, this Dior Brow, I've really been enjoying it again. So I feel like I've rediscovered a lot of products because of the Get Ready With Me that you saw, where I used a bit of a tool to help me figure out what best products to use that I had already, so like a Shop My Stash. And I rediscovered some products that way, and then taking products out that I have from Sephora and just playing around with them again reminded me of how much I really like these products. So with so much makeup hitting the market, it's really easy to get have my attention diverted to new shiny products. Of course, they're really good too. And then sometimes I forget about some amazing products that I have. It's just kind of the nature of doing this, that I get to try out so many great products, but there's only this one face I have, so I can only use so many. So it's always good to revisit. I was thinking of doing my top 5 of every brand that I love. Let me know if that's interesting to you. Like top 5 CdP, top 5 Dior, top 5 Chantecaille or Chanel. So let me know if you'd like to see that. I think that might be interesting. Or at least in shorts, maybe. That would be good. Let me know. Let that set for a minute, and then we're going to go in with eyes. So I have many eye products that I love this month, and I think I'm going to do like a blend of them. So we've got here for next gen palettes, we've got the CdP that I used in that Get Ready With Me, the Shop My Stash. There is a similarity between all of these. This is an 03 Sunstone Driftwood here, CdP. We've got this, I guess this is a preview to my top palettes of the year. Then we've got this Hermes, which has like a cooler purpley tone. This is like a more neutral purpley tone. This is more like a lilac-y tone. And then also the new Dior palette. So let's just come up with something here. I really like this shade in the Hermes palette. Is the number 01. If you saw my Hermes ranking video, this is also my number 1. Take the lightest shade. This one is like a light lilac. And I'm just gonna take that all over the lid. And then we'll put some Dior on that because I want you to see the difference between these two. So there's definitely a creamier texture to this one and the CdP. So simple. For the crease, let's go in with this one. This one's in the CdP. It's beautiful neutrally shade. This is the best way I can think to feature all of them together, is just to use a little bit from each one. Super fast. And then let's take from the Dior palette. I actually haven't tried this, but I've been curious about this shade, this plum shade. It's a satin, so it's not a matte like this one. It's a velvet that we tried last time. I washed all my brushes and now I need to wash them again. So it's interesting. It looks more red here in the palette, but here it looks cooler. So let's see what it looks like on. Okay, this is the only thing about this palette. I have lots of mirrors, but just know there's no mirror here if you're used to a mirror in your palette. Oh, that's beautiful. It's a very sophisticated way to introduce color in case you are not a fan of color. I mean, it kind of reminds me of this shade right here in the CdP palette. Ooh, let's take this one. Let's take this shimmery shade from this Hermes palette right here and apply that right in the center. So this is one of my easiest techniques, I would say, to blend a darker shade with the middle of the lid. I feel like it always brings everything together in a really easy way. Plus, with a smaller eyelid, it's harder to get in there with a brush. Going again with this navy. So this is a BK Beauty 208. Going in with this Dior mascara. This is the Dior Show Iconic Overcurl. Okay, and see, the brows make a big difference on me, especially on camera, more on camera than in real life. So I've just about run out of this BabyBlade here by Victoria Beckham. So I'm going to go in and fill in. And this is really nice for just individual brow hairs like this, right up in the front. So I need to extend it a little bit and then fill in any sparse areas. And that's what I learned from a Chanel makeup artist once, is that she goes and does the brow gel first, kind of fluff up the brow, see what you've got, and then fills in with a brow pencil, like something really precise like this. And you can always blend in. Actually, brow pencil is one of the very first makeup products I remember my mom would buy. It was like a double pack of Maybelline or Max Factor or something like that. There were 2 pencils in there and they were black. It was a very different technology, but the brows were very defined at the time, but they were very waxy. I just remember that. Really just filling in where necessary. Okay, going with our typical under eye routine here. Trench underneath. If you haven't been here before, I just cancel out just a little bit of that redness. Little touch makes a big difference because I don't put a shadow under my eye, which is actually something I could probably do to help with this, but it just makes a big difference. Just a little bit. So this is an eyeshadow stick by Victoria Beckham, and it's meant for the upper eyelid, but I use it on the lower area because it sticks better than a concealer does. And then we are going to take concealer here though. Just taking the CdP concealer, I'll apply that to the exterior of the eye. And that's where I can have a little bit of a thicker concealer versus here towards the center. That needs to be more lightweight, a little bit more fluid, and allow for some more movement. This is a 45 Sephora brush. It's kind of like the concealer brush from CdP. Great for lines like this, more defined line. Okay, so I was reminded of how amazing this powder was right here. So we're gonna go in with this. This is the CdP. It's very finely milled. Let's use this giant powder brush by La Mer. And we're just gonna apply here to the center. Everywhere in the center except for the bridge of my nose. This may be the most elegant powder that I have. So you've seen this YSL blush in action more than a few times, but I thought we'd do this one today just by itself, the Givenchy in 02. So I'm just gonna tap the lid like this. Yeah, this is the one that came in the set with that lip product, which I think is one of the prettiest sets that they had there at Sephora. Hermes brush, it's a Deluxe Kabuki. You can get a nice subtle application or build. So we'll start out subtle and then we'll build. One thing about this blush is that even though it's a powder, it doesn't sit on the skin like a lot of powder blushes can. It really melds really beautifully. It does do a really nice job there. So you can see it's blended in really nicely. Okay, let me just fix this hair and then we'll add a lip. So you can still see a little bit of the darkness, but that's okay. I'm willing to have it a little bit imperfect. But if you don't want it imperfect, you can go in with something like, I'm thinking of doing a hyperpigmentation video that shows ways that I address this, because there are different ways that I take care of it based on how much coverage I want or what kind of finish I want. So let me know if you're interested, because I think a lot of you here have let me know you have similar issues. But I'm gonna go in with a little bit of this Hourglass powder. Let's use this, I know this is not totally meant for this, but let's use this anyway. REPHR brush, number 4. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of dim light, and then it filters nicely as well. So it'll reflect that light and then kind of divert the eye away from any other discoloration that's there. So that's how I like to use this, as well as a highlighter, so I can bring it up on the cheeks. But that's one way to address hyperpigmentation. My brows, a little help. Just brush through slightly. And then I just wanted to intensify the eye a little because I think it got lost a little. Taking that plum shade from the Dior palette. Usually it's increasing the contrast that really makes it more dramatic. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just gonna increase this contrast between dark and light. So I'm just increasing the contrast here, dark and light, and then into the crease slightly. That's all I'm really doing to intensify. Just like that. So that was a really simple adjustment. And these are really simple makeup moves, I guess. I feel like when I started watching YouTube myself, it looked very complex application, but really I'm just putting the brush like this and leaning it up against this little area and then into the crease a bit. And that's how I'm intensifying. It's not that complex. Sometimes simpler the better. Keep it simple, as they say. So I feel like I try to keep it simple. Doesn't end up that way all the time. I know it can get a little bit busy with everything that's going on, but it's because I'm just kind of like playing around. Okay, this is not the ideal brush to do this, but I just need to blend into the crease. Then going in with this Valentino lip, and I don't know if there are any other shades I would want to try. Maybe something deeper, but this is really pretty. I like this more matte finish for a simple, like natural looking lip. Okay, and then for the finishing touch, we're going to go in with this. So I featured the ginger, what was it called? The gingerbread version of this. Let me look and see what it's called. Oh, I featured that ginger biscuit in the Sephora, but then I noticed it was out of stock. So I don't know if it's come back into stock, but this is also a beautiful one by Jo Malone, and they did gift this to me. So this is Fur and Artemisia. And let me read the notes too, because this is very nice. It's very different than the ginger biscuit. So if you are like me and you like these woodsier scents, I feel like I said this before, that the packaging is, to me, this actually looks something more like a pumpkin scent, but it's not. Comfort and joy wrapped up in this season. So its notes are, heart note is fur. So if you like that woodsy scent, like I said, it's beautiful. Base note is leather. And the top note is Artemisia. Got a freshness and bitterness to it. So nothing sweet here. So if you are looking for something holiday and you don't love gourmand scents, which I think there are a lot of during the season, and then there are some smokier ones. This kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, along the lines of Oud Fumé, but a little bit lighter than that. And then this hairstyle, like, I need my bangs trimmed here, but the hair actually went from dry hair. I used the Dyson Airstait, but my hair was already washed with the Jolie, the shower filter. I've been using that, and it really has a nice impact on my hair. So it helps with the softness of my hair, so I can air dry it and it's not wiry. I went really quickly with the Airstait this morning, the Dyson Airstait on this part right here. But that is it for the Get Ready With Me. Let me know if you picked up any of these products during the sale or any products that are not available at Sephora. I think I was noticing sales here and there, so I'll try and compile some things for you that are outside of Sephora that are also on sale and things that I love. But that is it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.